Good morning, everybody. I'm Ha Cole, and I work for Microsoft. I have this slightly pompous title of Strategist and Architect, and all that means is that I work with customers to help them innovate and to transform. And I have the privilege of working with a range of large and small organizations, including startups. So what Nick said earlier about, if you don't grab an opportunity, other people will, that really resonates with me. And what Chai said earlier about, disruption, Uber and so on, that resonates with me. Because like many businesses, we in Microsoft are also going through a transformation journey. We are in an industry that just does not respect tradition. It doesn't respect, what we've done before, Bill Gates or not. It only respects innovation. And it's a fiercely competitive market out there, and we have to act really smartly in order to compete. So my guess is that you also see that kind of competition in your respective market, and that's why you spend a whole day here. And so I use the term smarter business intentionally, in the sense of we all need to innovate, we all need to transform in order to compete. And I believe that technology has a strong role to play in that space. So today we're going to work through some of the key technologies, what is relevant to your business, and also to give you a few pointers in terms of go and try it out. A little bit more statistics. I promise you this will be the only one you're going to get from me today. This is from the Boston Consulting Group, and they do a survey of small, medium-sized businesses globally across a number of sectors. And they say, and what they find is a tech-savvy business grows 15% faster and creates twice as many jobs as ones that use little technology. Now, one thing that is quite interesting in this space is also that they don't necessarily spend more in order to grow. They just spend on smarter technologies, and they spend on newer payment model, which we'll see a little bit later as well. Okay. So I just want to reflect a bit as to why it is that I think SMBs need to grab onto the whole, need to pay much more attention to digital, to technologies now. When we look at cars, when cars were first invented, they were only available for the super rich. And then it took a good 20 years for the car to become more reliable, to be cheap enough, and also it took that length of time for roads to be built. We are at a space where, just like technologies, used to be very much only available for the large businesses, but they are becoming much more available, a lot cheaper, and a lot and good enough for SMBs. So here's what industry experts agree. They're the 4 key building blocks, and they are cloud, they're mobility, social, and big data. Mobility and social are fairly obvious. Who hasn't got a smartphone here today? Super, 1. Who doesn't know about things like Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and so on? Nowadays, most people know because we are in the consumer space. Cloud and big data are a little bit in the back end, they're a bit hidden, so we're going to work through them a little bit more today. Key point here though, again, is these things are coming together to do wonderful things for SMBs. So what I like to work through is a couple of examples on how these things actually come together, and then we decompose and get an understanding as to what each one of those means for your business. So the first one is an example where cloud and mobility come together to support SMBs to work anywhere productively. Now, it's not a new idea, working anywhere productively. Many of us have smartphones, many of us can access our emails on our smartphone. But there's more, there is more. So have a look at this video, look out for where people work, look out for how they do meetings, how they collaborate on documents, how they share information, how they network together within their organizations. And these things also applicable to when you work with partners and when you work with customers as well. Apologies for the Microsoft stuff in there. I thought it feels slightly churlish that I would include in here, but I left it in there just to show that you're not starting from square zero. Some of the tools you already have, and we are building from that. So from the knowledge and experience point of view, it is helpful to see what you already have. So the benefit of working anywhere productively is fairly clearly very little dead time. You can respond to your customers and your issues in a much more timely manner. The biggest one for me is actually about you can choose where you work, so you are at your most creative. And that's where some of the innovations would come in, when you are at your most creative. As I mentioned earlier, this is available. These kind of capabilities will work when you collaborate with your partners and to a certain extent with your customers as well. So if you look at these people who work anywhere, they all have devices, and that's part of the mobility megatrend. But there is something in the back end somewhere that holds their documents, that do the video conferencing and so on, and that's part of the cloud megatrend. So mobility, two more things to say about that. The first thing is that those capabilities that you saw, they don't just work on Microsoft stuff, they actually work on Apple, and they work on Google Android platforms as well. And I think it's important because it means people have the choice of what it is that they want to use. And from your business point of view, what that means is that you can enable your workers, particularly temporary workers, to use their own device at work, and therefore saving costs for you, and they can still work productively. The second point to make is that if if you are mobile, then your customers are also mobile. So whatever services that you're offering them will have to work and will have to be accessible on a range of devices as well. So cloud. You have one of these servers sitting in a dusty corner of your office somewhere. So that's the on-premises model. You buy the server, you install them, and quite rightly, you make use of them for as long as you can. With the cloud model, the cloud provider would make that upfront investment, and then you come along and you use them and you pay for them, just like you go and buy electricity and gas and telephone. So you don't make the upfront investment. And one thing to say is that these cloud providers operate at really, really high scales. So the cloud centers would have millions of these servers inside, and they operate very, very efficiently. And that's how they are able to pass on that cost saving to you. We'll never be able to operate in the same way that they can. This is what one might look like. So one of these containers would contain something like 5,000 servers. They just get dropped in when more capability is needed. And most of these data centers are highly, highly automated. Again, contributing to the efficiency and therefore, the lower cost and therefore lower price to you. So what? So what are the benefits? Benefit to you is the pay-as-you-go model, as we mentioned earlier. And we have a couple of medium-sized businesses where they say they manage to save £4,000 a month. And that's quite a significant amount for a medium-sized business. The second benefit is that it's elastic, which means your processing model, your processing need could shrink and grow as you want, and you could do that very quickly and very cost effectively. A really good example that I find is with UCAS. Those people who are here that are young enough would know what UCAS is. It's the organization that do university student admission. And so for a few days of the year, you have a whole set of anxious students wanting to get their result. And they get, for each one of those days of the year, they get something like 1 million hits on their website. So if you imagine having to stack up all of those servers, like we saw earlier, just for those few days of the year, it's so wasteful. And the cloud can take that away, that wastefulness away. Resilience. How many people actually back up their business data? Hands up. Oh, that's really good. That's much better than I've seen. So this, the cloud model, it either does that for you or it makes it an awful lot easier for you. There's also a service level agreement as well. How much of a headache is it for you to make sure that your software is up to date? Sometimes it's quite a headache, isn't it? Yeah. And the evergreen model would take that away from you as well. Cloud is evergreen. And then these cloud centers are designed to be very, very energy efficient and a whole range of other things which make it very eco-friendly as well. You have a bunch of names, IaaS, SaaS, public, hybrid, all of those names. Really, in my mind, the most important one is a software as a service, the thing that sits in the middle. Start with those and then only look at the other things when you really need to. There are many clouds. Microsoft is not the only one. So Google and Amazon are the other really big cloud provider globally. So go choose. Make sure that whatever you choose is the right ones for you. In the Microsoft corner, the capabilities that you saw is part of the Office 365 suite. So go try it out. So the second megatrend, here's another example on a couple of the megatrends that come together. And the example that I want to show is in the healthcare space. So this is where government bodies can take information and they can use a tool to visualize where some of the healthcare problems might be and also where some of the solutions might be. So look out for this video coming. So look out for where information, where data sets are combined to suggest potential solutions to problems. The last bit is just the Microsoft logo, so I spare you of that. So in terms of understanding customers, using these type of visualization tool is a really easy way to gain insights. You see how they pull the different data set together, and you can explore where some of the problems might be, but also where some of the solutions might be. These kind of tools are relatively easy to use, and they're very affordable as well. I am a techie, but I haven't done any coding for a long time now, and even I can do this thing. So there's a little level of learning involved, but you can do this if you have the right data. So where does the data come from? The data could come from your web analytics, analysis of your website. It could come from your internal system, your sales, your purchasing systems, external sources, social media, Wikipedia, and so on. I want to call out the data could also come from government agencies, and that's open data. So a lot of what you saw in that video is actually government data, is free for anybody to use. Just go and search for open data and you can pull the data out and you can do a whole set of wonderful things with it. The other source of data is what is called data marketplace, and so companies can put data and can put services on these data marketplace. For example, I spotted yesterday, there's this company that provide that work out customer churn. So you give it your sales data and it works out, which customers are likely to leave and by when. And what that means is it can do something about those customers. I suspect that it doesn't apply to all of the businesses and so on, but it is the kind of thing that is available to you that you can use at a lower cost than if you have to do it yourself. So go and search for a data marketplace on any search engine. In terms of understanding customers, in my head, there are two different types. There's a rear view mirror of understanding what has already happened, and there is a view of understanding what is happening right now, in the last 10 minutes or whatever it is that is appropriate for your business. So this is what happens, this is what has happened. Here's an example. Google Analytics is really good with this kind of stuff. And generally, it gives you three categories of things. The first one is, are you reaching the right audience? The second is, when they land on your website, what are their behaviors? Are they leaving too quickly? Are they landing on the pages that you want them to land on? And then thirdly, what's the conversion rate? They've landed on your website. What are they doing next? Are they making a transaction or booking an event or whatever it is that you want to achieve? Other software is also available to merge that, online and offline space as well. So understanding what is happening in the social media. This can give you people's sentiment about topics that you care about. So the topics could be about your product, about your competitor's product, about a product category, and you can set up keywords in a range of sources like Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and so on, and it'll give you the sentiment. So on the right-hand side, the green is positive sentiment, the red is negative sentiment, and the grey just means it's kind of like neutral. It will also give you who the key influencers are, and these are the people that other people listen to. So if those characters aren't happy, then maybe it's time to do something quickly. And here's another view of the same kind of thing. It would work out for you, what's positive and what is negative. Again, there are many cloud services that providing these kind of capabilities. So Google, Amazon, Salesforce, Microsoft, there's a whole list of them. So in the Microsoft corner, these are the things that you saw earlier. So we started out with tech-savvy businesses grow much faster than those ones that use little technology. We've looked at the 4 megatrends: cloud, mobility, social, and big data. And we look at the relevance in your business. Cloud is the most foundational of the 4 megatrends. So if you are walking out of here today and there's one thing that I would suggest you do is go and try out a cloud service. You go find Office 365 or Google Analytics or whatever it is, try it out and actually touch and feel and see the difference it is going to make to your business. I want to stop with a bit of a video on Skype on Skype translation. So I hope everybody knows what Skype is. Language translation has always been a tough problem. People have been at that for years. And real-time translation, when people are talking to each other, is even tougher. And what I want to demonstrate is these key technology building blocks that we've been talking about are coming together. And I believe we are at a stage where we're nearly cracking it. It is available on Skype right now, but have a look at this video, which is about 6 months old.
Good afternoon, Melanie. How are you?
Aber nach neuen Melanie. Wie geht es dir?
Mir geht es gut. Wie geht es dir?
Well, how is it, me friends?
We haven't quite
Sorry,
cracked
Melanie,
it.
say that again.
Melanie, sag das nochmal.
Mir geht es gut. Wie geht es
I
dir?
am well. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. I'm here at the Worldwide Partner Conference with 16,000 partners and our CEO on the big stage. So no pressure.
Gut, danke. Ich bin hier. Aber weltweite Partnerkonferenz mit 16.000 Palmos auf der großen Bühne. Also, kein Druck.
Hast du die Weltmeisterschaft gesehen?
Have seen the World Cup.
Yes, I did see the World Cup. Congratulations.
Ja. Ich sah die Weltcup-Glückwünsche.
Ich könnte gar nicht glücklicher sein. Ich habe die ganze Nacht gefeiert.
I could not be happier. I celebrated the whole night.
In einem einzigen Spiel hat Deutschland mehr Tore geschossen als England in den letzten 2 Veranstaltungen zusammen.
A single game, Germany has scored more goals than England in the last 2 events together.
very funny, Melanie. I'm more of a cricket fan.
Sie voll Melanie. Ein Cricket-Fan bewegen.
Was machst du nach der Veranstaltung?
What are you doing after the event?
This afternoon, I fly back to Seattle. Then on Thursday, I fly to New York, followed by Miami, then back to Seattle. And at the end of July, I'm going to fly to the UK to see my friends and family in London.
Heute Nachmittag. Ich fliege zurück nach Seattle. Und dann am Donnerstag, ich fliege nach New York gefolgt von Miami. Und dann zurück nach Seattle. Und am Ende Juli werde ich fliegen nach Großbritannien, um meine Freunde und Familie in London zu sehen.
Wow, das klingt nach einem vollgepackten Kalender.
Wow, that sounds like a packed calendar.
Gute Reise.
Good journey.
Thanks, Melanie. Goodbye.
Danke Melanie, Wiedersehen.
Danke dir. Schönen Abend noch.
Thank you very much.